Welcome to a complete hand gym workout. We're beginning with the push press to start with the upper body and then going downwards. Also beginning with complex exercises like the push press using legs and arms to drive the bar up and then to receive the force or break it in going down. Okay, making sure that you will work in both directions. One of the principles that I'm using with the hand gym that I've tried with other devices or other training is that if you go to sufficient failure, meaning that you should have stimulated all the muscle fibers enough, you should be able to be done with just one set. As you can see, I'm moving the bar extremely slowly at the end. Feeling satisfied, I'm moving on to the deadlift. With the deadlift, I was feeling a lot of force in my back. As most people know, the deadlift is a whole body exercise, but perhaps more emphasis on the back than the legs actually. Or I failed to feel a lot of sufficient leg drive in this exercise, and it might be bad on my part, but it's definitely a lot harder than it might look, at least. So then again, moving, doing the exercise until complete failure or extreme failure is reached, doing the movements extremely slowly, and then when you reach the point where the bar is moving extremely slowly, you should see yourself as done. We're then moving on to the unilateral row, which usually might be an exercise exclusively for the back, but doing it with a flywheel device, I definitely feel like I am working the whole body. I have to counteract the pull of the wheel with the opposite side of the body. As you can see, I'm even tensing my calves very strongly in order to be able to resist the force of the wheels that I'm producing. I feel like one of the advantages of doing unilateral work is that I can focus on really working the core. I find it with traditional unilateral row, yes, you can still work the core, but when working with a flywheel device, it's definitely a lot more intense than a traditional row. In this particular exercise, it also feels that the body is extremely resistant, meaning that I was able to do a lot more repetitions than the deadlift and the push press. It doesn't mean that the exercise would be less efficient, it just takes longer time to reach complete failure. So I decide to terminate or finish the exercise early, before complete failure, when I am moving the discs, the hand gym or the handle very, very slowly. Although it might sometimes feel when you're training with the hand gym that you could either feel like you're working very, very hard, or actually not so hard. But I usually feel like the after effect, you can usually feel that you have worked with the hand gym very intensely afterwards. Here we can see that I'm switching to the chest fly. I'm thinking that if I have used my arm, I can do the movement a little bit more slowly and therefore work longer time under tension. But it could be that I could also switch my body around a little bit so that I could work it in a more traditional bench press manner, but yet again, unilateral work. It's impossible to avoid when working with flywheel devices that you work the core. Almost impossible to avoid that. Even sometimes a bicep curl, if you do it really intensely on a flywheel device, can make you feel like you're working your core. But what is the history of flywheel devices? I am not an expert on its history, but the technology came about to give us astronauts a way to train in space, because you have weightlessness or no gravity. Hence, a spinning disc with its inertia can help you create something to work with as another form of resistance. Because when we're talking about weight training or weightlifting, we're talking about some kind of resistance training. You have to resist an external force in order to become stronger. Handy Gym and other flywheel devices achieve this in a very excellent manner. Regardless of the user, if the user is strong or weak, it's more or less an automatic adaptation by the machine, thanks to its construction. Moving on to the final part of the workout, I am switching from the more complex movements to more isolated movements. Just like most gym goers, I feel like I am guilty of wanting to have really big arms. Which I'm hoping that using the hand gym, I will be able to train almost whenever I want. Because if I can train whenever I want, I will train more frequently. And there is some research saying that if you train frequently, you will have a better stimulus. And better stimulus means better results. So I'm hoping that using the hand gym regularly, maybe every day to do bicep curls, I will be able to grow really, really big arms. In these particular exercises, I don't feel like the double pulley or double power pulley is necessary, especially when doing the unilateral work isolated. The red discs, or I suppose any disc, would be sufficient to drive stimulus. It could also be useful for repeated and varied stimulus for better and varied results, that you use a different combination of discs. The red discs happens to be the most or the heaviest, relatively speaking, meaning that movements are become slower and more it's like more strong, more similar to how a powerlifter would move. It takes longer to complete the movement. If I switch to the yellow discs, it becomes very fast movement. But okay, one important detail here. I am not doing straight up normal bicep curls where I'm trying to work in every direction. I'm also doing eccentric overload, meaning with the auxiliary muscles or using the legs, I will try to overload the movement. So I have to receive the force of the legs with just the biceps, meaning that I am doing extremely heavy bicep curls, hoping that it will drive force a strong stimulus and therefore good results when it comes to hypertrophy. As soon as I am done or fatigued in the bicep curl, I am moving on to doing tricep extension above my head with a bar, a curved bar. It's a little bit easier on my wrists. Again, here when I'm reaching failure, where the movements are very slow, I am then switching over to the tricep extension. And comparing the bicep curl and tricep extension, I must say that the tricep extension was maybe 5 times more intense than the bicep curl. I'm not sure if it's because I'm doing it as a bilateral movement, meaning with both hands instead of just one at a time, but it felt like it was better on my wrists to do it both at the same time. This video is about to end. I really hope you enjoy my information about the handy gym, and I will continue trying to give information about the handy gym, because I feel like it's a technology that deserves to be everywhere. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe. Timbiohaxx signing out.